EBS Podcast presents.
Whoa, are we in an airport right now? I don't think so. We're in the EBS studio, about to get going and kick off an episode of the EBS podcast, Just Go. In Just Go, we're going to be talking to EBS students who have done the Erasmus program, and let's talk about their trials and tribulations and what they went through and how it's made them a better person overall and what they got out of the experience. But more importantly, let's stop talking and let's just go. Welcome back for the next episode of Just Go, the EBS Erasmus podcast, where we talk to people who have actually traveled outside the country, not just to Finland. And today in studio, we have two fresh faces, two new guests. We're going to talk about their Erasmus experiences going to Greece. Robert, Lauri,
hello,
and Leyla Ozturk.
Hello.
So, you guys both went to Athens.
that's right.
Yeah. It's a very much so presentive kind of face. I like that. So you guys went to Athens, University of Athens, or is there a more officiated way to say this?
Well, the official name is National and Capodistrian University of Athens.
Or you could just say Kappa.
I
Yeah.
think most people would go with that. That's a general, it sounds like a fraternity, really. That's what that does sound like.
Right?
Did it feel like a fraternity going there?
Just a little bit, sometimes.
That makes sense why the U.S. does that so much. As we spoke previously, again, for you, I understand why you'd want to get out of this country, get a little bit of sunlight, you're looking a little pale.
You're in the right direction, yeah.
Yeah. But we are actually in the same boat. We are both foreigners living here, and you go to full-time school here,
I'm
right?
a full-time student here at DBS.
And you just decided to leave, did the lack of sunlight get to you, or what was the driving fact to do Erasmus?
Well, I mean, it just sounded like such a great opportunity, and also you rarely get opportunities where you can travel abroad as a student, and I think the program is very good because not many countries and continents have this. I mean, it's quite subjective to Europe, but in other continents it's not very common. So I thought it was a great way for me to get a bit more exposed to different cultures, especially because I think Greece was very different to Estonia. It's quite the opposite of Estonia, so it was really cool experiencing that.
I would say most of Southern Europe is the exact opposite of this.
Yeah.
Robert, for you, the same question. How did you feel about that?
Well, in my case, it wasn't that I chose Greece. It was like the opposite way, that Greece chose me. My biggest dream was actually to go to Spain, and I had done months of preparations for it. So I applied to 2 universities, and as a third choice, I picked an Italian school. So I was told that unfortunately all the places are full. We don't have a spot for you. So I had 2 days to choose another country, another university. On the first day I was completely miserable. I was even considering not actually doing Erasmus. But then I remembered my good Greek friend who did his Erasmus in Estonia, Vasilis. I remembered his sentence. He said that if you stay only in the one country, you read only the one page of the whole book. And I had asked a lot of questions about Greece, just for fun. So I was, okay, Greece, it's totally unknown for me. Just let's go.
Yeah.
And I said, okay, let's try Greece. I got accepted.
So you walked in going, besides talking to Vasilis, did you do any research into Greece prior to this?
No, not at all. Zero.
So
Only about weather part. I was curious how warm it is, like in December and November as well there.
And was it warm enough for you? Because I remember you came back with a dense tan.
Yeah.
A heavy tan.
I was taking sun even in the beginning of November. But it gets really cold there in the evenings, so it's weird. Like during daytime you can be outside with your t-shirt, and in the evening when the sun goes down you have to get all your winter stuff out. Like the cold is different there. It's like really penetrating.
Yeah. So you got like the nighttime Estonia experience while the daytime Greece.
Yeah, pretty much.
Amazing.
But it was only like during the last month.
Yeah. So, but again, for you then, was Greece your number one pick then, Leyla? Or was it just like you fell into it?
To be honest, I don't know. It was very difficult for me to choose a country. I think I was drawn to many different countries for many different reasons. But at the end of it, I I kind of just said, okay, well, let's just do Greece, because the coordinator here at EBS said, like, not many people have gone there, so maybe it's a great experience. And also, I think going to a Western country was quite cliche. I think going to, for example, Spain or France was not really what I wanted to do, because that's, I mean, you might as well just be a tourist there.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, let's do Greece. And Athens, people don't usually go there. They would go to an island if they had to visit Greece as a tourist. So for me, it was kind of just like, you know what, let's just do it. Let's go see the culture and get involved. And that was really cool.
Yeah, the note on the tourist comment. I've been to Greece a couple times, and I never go to Athens. I've been there one time. Honestly say, I don't feel like I missed much, but that was from my experience just traveling around the Parthodon area and stuff. But
yeah, that's true. That's I mean, to be honest, after living in Greece, I think that traveling to other places outside of Athens was my favorite.
Okay.
I quite enjoyed like going to the islands as well as like inland.
Before we get to talking about more of those fun personal growth experiences, which are just as important to the Erasmus, but what's even more important, the foundation of the idea, it's the education. What did you guys think of the school? And honesty is the best thing, because your responses will probably help someone else in the future pick Athens, or maybe not pick it, depending on how you say it. Because I think that the most important thing is honesty overall, because we're not here to sell someone a dream. We're just here to tell them your perspective and your experiences. So
okay, I can go first then.
Yeah.
Well, the university offers like some courses on the website for Erasmus students. It's written there that they are for Erasmus students. They are in English. Each course was like 7 ECTs, so that's pretty much actually. I chose 4 courses, that's 28 ECTs in total. Everything had been signed. I go there. My first day, I had to go to the Department of Economics, give my signature that I have arrived and ready to study. So as I go there, they tell me, okay, you have 4 courses. One of the courses is actually cancelled. 2 of them are actually in Greek language. So just send like email to the lecturer and you will find out how can you pass this course. And one is the course where you have to go. So during my whole Erasmus, I had to go to the university only once per week on Monday for 2 hours. These 2 courses that were in Greek language, I met once with the lecturer. He told me, like, gave some individual tasks, like essays. And I had to send essays during the Erasmus, and that was it. That's how I passed these 2 courses.
So you did a lot of so even though you say you only went to class 2 hours a week, how much of that time were you doing self-studying then, so you have the knowledge and capability of writing these essays and submitting this kind of assignments?
I would say maybe, I don't know, 2-3 days of the whole Erasmus.
Wow.
When I sat down and I did these things.
Well then, so with the other 6 days a week, that was it for your academics. It was literally just those, and you knocked out these 2 courses in couple weeks then?
I forgot to add that the school actually offers Greek language courses as well, so I took a Greek language course as well.
Okay. And how did you find taking the Greek language courses?
I found it interesting, I'm interested in languages, so for me it was definitely good. And, it's like exotic thing to say now that, oh yeah, I speak Greek. Everyone are like, what?
Yeah, but you speak Russian, right?
Yeah.
So did you find that it was easy for you to pick up Greek? Because I've tried Russian, and it's terribly difficult for me. But if you already understand the Cyrillic alphabet, Greek being the base, was it easier for you then to grab on than other your classmates you may have had?
I don't know. For me, it's so hard to compare languages. I find them as equally hard or difficult.
Yeah. Just Greeks with those little fancy letters, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you get as lucky with only having 1 class a week?
Well, I think mine was my situation was just a little bit different. We were just a few business students, because actually that university is known for law and is quite good with law. So business wasn't the main faculty at the university. So yeah, like he said, I think the Erasmus students were separated from the Greek students, and this was done in a very odd way, especially because we weren't so many. So we would have meetings every week with I had meetings every week with different lecturers, and I had 1 class a week on a Monday. And in general, I think the meetings were very, they were just, it was just like kind of small talk where we just spoke about the week and what we have to go through. Even though we only had meetings, they did tell us to do self-study. So it was kind of like our obligation to take on the studies on our own. So whether you chose to procrastinate or whether you chose to actually do your studies was up to you, because at the end of the day, we still wrote a difficult exam. So I personally didn't really, I kind of procrastinated a little bit. And I found that this like past month in January, I did have to study a lot to catch up on the semester. So I think that in some of my modules that I took, I did put a little bit of effort because I knew it was going to be quite difficult, like finance and accounting. But in the ones that I thought weren't as difficult, I didn't put as much effort. But again, I do think that at the end of the day, like the exam was still difficult, and I still needed to put effort in. So.
Did you guys fall into the mobility window then for your Erasmuses?
I did, yes.
You did.
Yeah.
So Robert, did you?
I'm not actually even sure what is it. I think no, because
so recently EBS has instituted a new policy to allow to make it easier for people to do Erasmuses. So it's more flexible with their structure so they can still graduate on time. Did you feel that because of this university's structure and separation of Erasmuses and stuff and limited resources, that has affected you long-term wise with your graduation track? Or have you just had a really chill vacation essentially?
Well, no, for me, I mean, because it was the open window, it was the perfect opportunity to go on Erasmus. And that's why I feel like it was definitely worthwhile going. I think that, if you're given an opportunity to still graduate on time and go to another country and experience new things, then you have to take it. It's just like a given.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like, I have to. And
now, Robert, I know me and you are in a very special boat, being both BBL students.
Yeah.
The fact you really only had a couple courses, has this affected your graduation and whatnot? Because I don't know if you were in the mobility window or not. If you did it less,
no, I don't think I had the mobility window. Yeah.
No, right? Because the mobility would have been open this academic year. Yeah. So has it affected you then? Are you delayed on graduation?
Well, yeah, I came back with 21 ECTs. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So you just got to make up a couple extra courses, but you're still solid to go.
Yeah.
That's not too bad. Sounds good.
It's definitely worth taking the shot, even if you will graduate later. Yeah. For sure. Yeah. If you can, then go 100%.
Okay. School, we've talked about it. You got any other comments about the school? I'd love to hear them. Any other perspective that you might want to say to someone who's planning on going to Greece or is thinking about Greece?
Yeah, about school as well. What you mentioned. Me as well, we had only 5 people in our economics department, like 5 Erasmuses. So there's not like many chances to meet like Greek students or other Erasmus students through the university.
Okay, so that's actually a great point then, because I know EBS, we have a really good network for Erasmuses coming in, because we got our buddy system, we have the student council, international club, all that fun stuff, and we have a good connection with other schools, whether they like it or not. Did you have that? I guess you guys didn't really have that kind of support network then.
Personally, I had a great experience because I actually do feel like the Erasmus group in Greece was very good, because they managed to get all universities together. So I made friends with, most of my friends came from the business school in Athens.
Okay.
So it was, we always did things together where the universities just joined forces basically. So it was perfect for me. I didn't struggle with friends and stuff.
Yeah, that's true. Erasmus in Athens is actually similar to studying in EBS.
Okay.
I mean, because for some reason, I don't know why or how, but Greece is actually not a popular destination for Erasmus.
Yeah.
So we as well had like a big WhatsApp group where there were hundreds of other Erasmuses. So there is this community vibe,
Yeah.
And you get to meet with a lot of people through it.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's good to hear. Then you had a good support network. You got enough time. You get to celebrate and do all your fun stuff.
Yeah.
Besides school, how did you find just moving there and finding living accommodation and whatnot? Because I've heard some people said they had a really easy time in these countries. They've had difficult times in other countries. How was it, going to Athens, finding a place to live and whatnot? And was that difficult at all, or was it like just
Wanna go first?
bada bing, bada boom?
Yeah, it's super easy. There are so many of us.
Okay.
And the best thing about it is like the cost of living is really cheap there.
All right.
That's true. I mean, for me, because I'm a foreigner in general, so it was it was really easy, like getting accommodation and stuff. I think you just need to look on the right websites and you'll be fine. But in terms of like, for example, I was struggling with my residence card stuff. So just in general, I would say that doing governmental things and like organizing like these types of serious things isn't a fun ride. Like, it's very stressful, and at the end of the day, like, I still got back without the residence card, so it was kind of just like a waste of time and money. So that was the one downfall that I found with moving to Greece and like doing these types of things.
So then here's a question I guess you can only answer then. As a foreigner, you have the Estonian residency, correct?
Yes.
So do you have to re-up and then get Greek residency while you're there, or are you able to stay on your Estonian resident because it's already for studies?
Yeah, well, basically, I think, from what I read, you have to apply for a I had to apply for a Greek residence card because I was staying in Greece for more than 3 months.
Oh, okay.
So that's kind of like the condition. But if you're there for less than 3 months, then it's not really necessary.
Okay. But there's no, like, even if you just go there for the 3 months, under 90 days, there's no hassle getting an apartment or whatever. Because remember I was talking to the guy, the boys from Italy, and they were saying they were struggling out of their mind just to pay their utility bill and stuff for some odd reason because of a tax number or whatever. I don't know. Italy's weird, man.
Wow. Okay.
Well, in Greece, it's not the case. Usually, most of the landlords actually don't pay the taxes, so you pay for your utilities and rent in cash.
Oh.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's you just have like verbal agreement with your landlord, and that's it.
Yeah.
So you have like no problems.
That's
that seems like do you sign like a renter's agreement or anything? You just show up and like, here's the key and here's some cash?
Almost.
Well, basically,
yeah.
I think that's the ultimate system, libertarian at its best.
Straight to the point.
Yeah, just money and go. So then I guess segue out of all that fun stuff and get the logistics out of the way. Overall, what did you think of the country and the city? Did you guys spend a lot of time in Athens, or did you get out, really explore all that Greece had to offer?
I think that Athens is such a big and amazing city, and it's so overrated because the cultural heritage it has. It's like the birthplace of democracy. There are like so many amazing things to see, and I spent a lot of time in Athens discovering stuff, and I still haven't seen everything. I have gone there back already 3 times. I'm going already in 2 weeks again there, because I totally fell in love with Greece, and Athens it's definitely like a second home for me now.
Man, it's amazing what one Erasmus will do to you.
Yeah,
I think you're the first boy that's been in that chair. He's like, you know what? I'm just gonna move there soon. It seems like it's about that.
Yeah, it was weird. Like during that time, I started to realize the value of Estonia as well, and I missed Estonia. While I'm Estonia, I miss Greece.
Yeah.
Buy a house in the middle in Romania. You'll be happy there.
I visited Romania as well. Actually, it wasn't that pleasant experience.
Well, that was one way to put it. I guess we'll have Romania next week to hear their perspectives. For you, what did you think about the city and whatnot?
Okay, so Athens, I think it's such a lively city, and it's always like there's always something to do, and there are always people on the street, which is something that I love because it kind of felt like, wow, people are so alive here. And it also kind of just makes you realize what the purpose of living is in a way, because I think that, people are so happy, even though they had the economic crisis just a few years ago. They're still kind of struggling through that, but at the end of the day, like, they have such a strong community of people that, like, you wouldn't even realize that there was such a huge economic crisis. And I think, just the way people are so happy, and they're always, laughing with other people, socializing. It's really such a nice vibe to be around. And my friends and I, we tried traveling quite a lot. We went to quite a lot of islands and also traveled inland with the Erasmus group. and that was incredible. Every single island is so beautiful. It really is amazing. It's kind of paradise on every island, and they all have something unique to offer. The stray cats are quite cute too, so that was nice. But I really loved it. It was amazing.
How would I say this? So would you say a majority of your time was spent in Athens then, or outside of the city?
Well, I would say it's like kind of 50-50 because when we had to, during the week we were in Athens, and
yeah,
then
for
on
that
the weekend,
one day you had to be in Athens. The other 6 days it just seems like you're free as a bird.
No, it wasn't like that. But I think during the week we were in Athens, and on the weekend we'd try to go away, especially during the summer. So yeah.
Can I add a few more things?
Anytime,
yeah.
man. Just chime in.
About the thing about the economic crisis is true. Like, as an Estonian, like the hospitality that I saw there, it like blew my mind. I had never ever seen and experienced anything like this. For sure, Greeks are the most generous and hospitable nation in the world. I would say it was just so amazing, and I felt like at home from the day one. When they know you're a foreigner, they will do absolutely everything for you.
That's so true.
What else? About the city, as I mentioned, cost of living is really cheap. Going out, most of nightclubs didn't have the entrance fee, so you can go and party for free, pretty much. You can find alcohol for really cheap prices. Ordering food home is free.
So you're not getting taxed by those Volt 250 delivery fees.
It was crazy. Yeah, I was ordering food home pretty much every day.
Ridiculous, man.
Damn.
Yeah.
Living like a king over there.
Yeah, that's what I felt.
I'm amazed you came back. Cause like,
but there's like really big culture differences as well. For example, it was really strange as an Estonian. You go like on a Monday at 12 to the city center, you step out of the bus, and immediately your eyes are full of tear gas. You see like stuff burning on the streets, riot police is on the streets. Almost every week there were like protests and stuff like that happening.
Okay.
Sometimes like
when you say protests, I don't mean to interrupt. Are we talking Hong Kong scale protests?
Yeah, they were the case as well.
Oh, okay.
With anarchists.
Did you join in at any time? I mean, I'm not condoning it for anyone to join in, but I think that's a very rare life experience few of us get to go for.
I was really close to the action. Like, as an Estonian, like, I'd never seen anything like this. And all the Greeks were like telling me, you shouldn't go, but I didn't care, and I just went to see outside with my own eye.
You just
strapped
on his EBS sweater, like, they won't hit me.
And it was really crazy and chaotic. Like, Molotov cocktails are flying, like streets burning, cars are burning. It's just madness there. And also the traffic is, on my first day when I went out of my home, I almost like got hit by a car like 3 times.
I will say this on the getting hit by a car thing. I lived in Turkey for 3 years, right? I had this one experience. All my classmates when us were all lived in Turkey for multiple years. We went to London on a class trip, and in that part of the world, Southern Europe, you get closer to Eurasia, just walk in the middle of the street. That's completely acceptable. You just got to know when that taxi driver is going to hit you. We were on the busiest street in London, and teacher's like, oh, we got to cross the street. All 14 of us, without batting an eye, walked right in front of a bus. Being like, oh, it's time to turn, and he pulled us back like, y'all need to learn the civilized way of life. You gotta change your mind, and you gotta change your perspective. That taxi driver does not care.
But you just gotta understand the culture thing, and you will just have to figure out how the traffic works. If you know like where are the biggest risks and how it works, then it's not so scary and risky.
Yeah, you got to figure out what taxi driver will hit you and which will avoid you.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, you got to be able to look him in the eye and be like, you're not going to hit me today.
Not today.
Yeah, that's pretty much how it works.
So Leyla, on that note, did you go to any riots?
That wasn't kind of like my scene. I wasn't already in. I literally tried to walk away as far as possible from riots and stuff, because I remember my teacher told us about a story of an Erasmus group of Germans who decided to join in on the riots, and one of the Germans ended up in hospital. So after that, I was just like, I don't think I really want to join.
I want to clarify that, like, I didn't participate.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
just like watching and stuff.
Long as you filmed it right, had your press card out, be like, I'm not part of this, I'm just filming. You would have been
No,
filming.
actually, if you have it, then it's more dangerous because the anarchists, like, they don't like journalists, and there are like often cases where the journalists get beaten, even by the riot police sometimes. So it's really crazy. Even near the police, you always don't feel safe because during the riots, they often don't make the difference who is like a normal person and who is the bad one.
Now, I want to specify here because, granted the situation we're discussing, and these are these, how consistent is this actually occurring, and how, I guess you kind of sought them out a bit, but they're just very small pockets around the city. It's not like town square riot every night. Because when I lived in Istanbul, we were having consistent riots and these kind of things. Like, I think at one point our consul general got pepper sprayed by the mayor of Istanbul. So yeah, that was a very rare incident. But these were very secluded areas, but you like knew the areas not to go. Like Taksim Square in Istanbul could be very dangerous at times.
Yeah, that's true.
Was it the same kind of situation in
Yeah,
Greece?
pretty much. But
Yeah,
there
that's
are exceptions as well. Like, for example, in the area where I lived, like few weeks ago, there were like 300 football fans clashing against each other, and Molotov cocktails and everything were flying in the peaceful area as well. So it can pretty much actually happen
Yeah,
everywhere.
that's true.
That's why I don't follow football. One of the reasons I won't go to Poland either. I'm scared of them.
Yeah, it's super crazy there.
I guess then, Leyla, other than not rioting, was there more of a positive tone to your experience then while in the city, avoiding the riots? Did you able to find were you able to find a nice little picnic area and just
Like, I mean, for example, Strepi Hill is a hill close to Exarchia. And okay, so I also want to point out there's this part of Athens called Exarchia that many people are so scared of and everything. And everyone was telling me that it's so unsafe and whatever. I live there, and personally, it wasn't bad at all. It was really okay. So
wasn't bad, really okay.
Well, I used to walk home from this area as one of my friends lived there. And every time, like, he would tell me, like, are you crazy? Don't go. And I was like, what's the worst thing that can happen? And, like, one night I was walking, like, on an empty street. It was, like, 4 a.m. or something. And I hear, like, that someone is, like, screaming behind me. I look behind, and, like, somebody's, like, running towards me and, like, making some really weird noises, like a zombie, like screaming. And I see that he's not slowing down. He's, like, keeps running towards me. At that moment, I realized I think I had better to run. So, yeah, it's actually not that safe, I think.
Okay, I didn't experience this.
Yeah.
I tried to avoid things like this, you see, so I wouldn't walk on empty streets and stuff. I think, I
think these are vastly two experiences. You might want to go see a doctor. There might be something up. You know what? It makes sense, though, when you think about it. You've lived here your entire life, You're like, where are you from, Noma?
Second?
What part of Estonia are you from?
Tallinn.
What part of Tallinn?
Yeah, Viimsi.
Oh,
it's not
exactly.
Like Tallinn,
you're from Viimsi. You're like, you need the roughness.
Yeah, no, being from South Africa, you try to avoid danger at all costs. So, I mean, for me, it's like a street smart. You just try to avoid these things.
Yeah, I was in Viimsi last night, and I was doing a show there, and at no point did I ever feel like anyone was like going to attack me or anything. But now, speaking to a Viimsi boy in person, I can understand how they all are ready to just fight.
No, I just got used to it. You have to adjust to the situation.
Desensitize is
take
the
it as a
word.
part of Greece that one night you can get stabbed, or it's how it goes.
Yeah. Whew.
But it's not actually that bad as it looks. There's like the positive sides definitely way over the bad sides.
Okay, we just talked about riots for the last 5.5 minutes. Besides the rioting and that very unique experience, without going to Hong Kong, because that's a very expensive flight, right? What was the positive then to this entire thing? Did you actually, from your experience with rioting, do you value anything more about it? Do you value something? Would you take out of that?
About city?
About the city or living in Estonia in that sense? Because I'm assuming, coming from here, we had the collapse of the Union, and then there was riots, and there was time of unsettledness, and now, I mean, you come from a country that's vastly unsettled and in an area of the world that's vastly unsettled. Do you value living here and your experiences here so much more because of this, you know?
Yes,
I definitely discovered this laid back lifestyle that even if they are like in so bad situation, the way how they find happiness in really small things, it's like incredible. Like you learn from it. And also, for example, how they take like 2 hours to eat lunch, it's like totally normal for them. And you kind of see these kind of things and see that like life can be lived differently as well than like here we do in Estonia, where time is like money for us.
I think that's true. I think like Greeks know how to live life, and I feel like that's why they kind of live longer than majority of the world, because they don't take things. I think their stress levels aren't as high as other countries, which is like quite, you know, for me when I was there, I was like kind of stressed, and then I was realizing that nobody's stressed, and I'm like, why is nobody stressing? But you know, I don't know. And then you kind of also like realize that you also need to kind of just let loose sometimes in life, and you know, not everything is so serious, which is quite a nice, you know, something I valued. And also here in Estonia, you value how to, you know, work hard and be very what's the word now, efficient. Everyone is so efficient here, and over there you kind of get that balance of, you know, bringing a bit of calmness and relaxation into your life. So in general, I think everything's about balance, but I did value this about Greece.
I think that's a beautiful note to wrap this entire podcast up. On that note, I want to open the floor to both of you. What would be the one point of advice or the one thing to take away from your entire experience you could wrap up in a sentence or two if someone's considering going
Advice.
Advice,
Okay.
or like a memento, or like a I have a dream moment, you know, kind of situation where you say something that sticks with
deep.
something. Yeah, let's go deep as possible. So deep we won't even be able to see you or find you in the snow.
I wouldn't go deep, but practical advice about going to Greece. Should you do it or no? If you're looking for good educational experience and this university experience, then do not go. If you look to get ECTs kind of easily, to get like in some sense cultural shock, especially if you're Estonian and want to have like 1 year or 1 semester vacation, then definitely go to Greece.
Okay. Leyla, the last word's yours.
Too much pressure. No, I do think that honestly, Erasmus is something that it's one of the best experiences in a person's life, and I think it was basically like the best 6 months of my life till today.
I agree.
So I definitely do advise students to really, you know, make use of this experience, because it's something that you can never do again in your life, or, you know, it's a very rare experience. So definitely go for it. Get out of your comfort zone and, you know, get involved in other people's cultures and communities. It's something that you won't regret ever. So
That's a beautiful way to wrap it up. All right, guys, this has been Caleb. On that note, thank you so much for tuning in to today's episode. We will see you next time with a new country and new experiences, possibly with or without riot stories. I'm not sure yet. We'll pick later. You all have a wonderful day. See you soon. We out. Solid.